All right. Happy Wednesday. How's it going? We are back. Digital Marketing Network. Mickey Black, Jennifer J. How's it going?
It is going good. It's hump day.
It is hump day. Halfway there. Halfway there. So we got earlier this week we talked about the things not to say. But today, sometimes it's not what you say, but how you say it, and sometimes you got to say it in a way that is interactive, and they like how they always tell you in journalism and marketing. They say ask an open question. So sometimes in our marketing, we have to ask the open
Mhm.
question to create engagement. And so
Yeah.
we're was talking about a few things marketers do to really create engagement, not just throw messaging out there, but
Mhm.
create engagement, which you create an opportunity for one, a consumer to engage with your brand. But number two, you get that data, you get that information, you get that feedback. So was wondering with your tactics, as I know you're always doing everything all the time, what are some of the engagement strategies? I know there's like polls and contests and challenges. What are some of the things that you experienced were pretty successful for brands that you've worked on?
Yeah, for sure. I know contests and challenges always worked best, especially with those big audiences. So when you have a big audience, they just respond to anything, polls, all of that. So just, engaging, asking questions like, which one do you like better? Or if you're trying to like get information, I think that's one of the things I never knew that people when they would say like, "Oh, just poll your audience," um, just asking those questions, you could do that through like the stories. So you could throw up a poll and just have them ask questions. Like I see people like BB Judy of Kaleidoscope do it all the time to get information. I've also been a part of seeing what happens on the other end of that, right? You ask a question, and then based on that answer, then now that becomes a product or a service that they're going to offer. So it's really good to use them for engagement and to help you, figure out what product you're going to release. Like if you're on the fence, like, well, what does my audience want? That's the best way.
Yeah, yeah, and I like what you mentioned around using the feedback to create a product because it's like validated out the door, and a lot of people don't. You don't often think about that, but that could be like a research tactic, so you can figure out what people are looking for. So you mentioned you can do them in Reels and like Instagram. I know sometimes people I'll see them on LinkedIn, but even you see polls on YouTube or via email. What are some of the most effective platforms that you've found where these sort of things work best?
Well, it really depends. It really depends on your audience, right? And so when I think about the businesses that I've worked with that we've launched these things for, one would be email, right? Because their audience is more responsive to email. The other would be Instagram because their audience is more responsive to Instagram, right? And so I think they're going to be effective wherever your audience is effective at, right? Where they're most engaging. So if you notice that they open your emails more than you get engagement on social media, then you would definitely choose the email route or the text route or social media or TikTok or whatever. I know on YouTube I don't really know. I would just think like if you're on YouTube, you're on there for a specific reason. So you're not really going to answer a poll, but I don't know. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion.
No, I think you're right. I think when you're on YouTube, I think a lot of times the the behavior is more pinpointed around a certain action. The only time I've seen polls work on YouTube is when you have a creator who's like going live, or a creator who has like one of those communities that are super engaged and they're like answering questions live. Um, Sometimes those will be really successful. Because also on one time on YouTube, I saw it was like a music group and they were doing like a live launch their video, and then they were giving away merch, like doing like question and answer things and giving away merch and the thing. So when it's live in an engaged audience, it can work. But typically, people on YouTube are trying to just watch their video that they want the answer for or the entertainment for.
Also, too, you definitely have to be careful as business owners giving away things. You want to make sure that that's another thing I've experienced too with working with different businesses, that giving away money is not good. Even if you want to. If you want to give away money, just give it away. But don't try to give it away as a lead generation source, because then you're going to get the wrong leads. So if you're giving away something, make it relevant to your business. That way you get the quality leads and the people who are actually looking for what you're offering. So
Gotcha.
if you're a hairstylist and you say, I'm gonna give you $100 off uh, a service, as opposed to you're a hairstylist and you're just giving $100, everybody's gonna opt in for
I'll
that.
come in if you're just giving
Right?
away 100. Where's my $100?
Hey, we gonna glue some weave on your head. You get this service. So, and see, that's why, and I try to tell people, like, don't give away things that's general, like Amazon gift cards and things like that. You
That's
can do
exactly what I
that
was
for
thinking.
your yeah,
Yeah.
you could do that for your current customers, but not to get leads. You want to make it, specific to your business. That way, oh, they actually need this. Now I can market to them on the back end.
That's a good tip. And I heard there's this one woman who has a e-commerce brand, and what they do is they sell watches. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. They sell watches, and they only sell. I think it's like on the 6th, and so the website is like on the 6th, and then on the 6th of each month they release a set of watches, and so you can only get these watches at one day in a month, and when they
Wow.
drop, they sell out, and then after like on the 7th, the next day they're gone. But what
How
she
much is one
said,
watch, Mickey?
oh, they're like a couple $100. They're
Oh,
like 200-300 bucks for the
okay.
watches. Yeah,
Okay.
it's like for
Go ahead.
ladies who like do that sort of shopping.
Mm,
Um, but what she said was one of the ways she keeps her audience engaged is she does like giveaways and contests, but she makes sure that her giveaways and contests are focused on watches. So it's like if you don't win the giveaway, you wanted a watch anyway. So so you're probably going to buy it because you're trying to get that thing that you want, versus
exactly.
somebody who goes in for an Amazon gift card. They
Mhm.
don't really want your thing. They just want a gift card. So that's I think something people don't always keep in mind, because they think the Amazon gift card is an easy one because yeah, everybody wants it, but just because they're in your email stream doesn't mean they want your service. So one of the things I was interested in talking about is, and almost it's like a riff off of the last question. So for um for regular e-commerce, consumer items, retail items, it's easy, right? The whether it be polls or contests, it's pretty straightforward. But what about B2B clients? So say for instance, if you're an accountant, yeah, insurance provider, or someone who is more B2B and it's not obvious, what kind of polls and things can you do to engage that type of audience?
Yeah. So for B2B is no different than consumer. What does your audience want? And it just really goes back to that question of doing the work of who your audience is, what they need, what their pain points are. So you always go back to their pain points. So if you have this list of pain points, you're able to utilize that for stuff like this, right? So if my pain point is I'm not organized or I don't know how to set up my um I know what. So I do my own bookkeeping, right?
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of times things because we're business owners, things fall in categories that we're like, what category does this fall into? So if you give me a list of well-known expenses and have the categories they should go into, that's a checklist I'ma always tap into, right? So even if I don't buy into your service, let's just say you had a recurring service that would help with people who are doing their own bookkeeping, then that would number one, you created a service off of a poll of what people need, right? So look at their pain points. So if you know that there's 3 pain points, make your poll questions the 3 pain points. And then you could create a service off of that, or you can just now direct your marketing to the most chosen pain point. And same thing to figure out what their pain point is, right? I did this for years with the question on when I well, let's do a sales cause the question on my system assessment form. It asked them what specific challenges they're having and what did they want to see, like if they could fix one thing in their business right now pertaining to systems and automations, what is it? And I can sit here and tell you, I'm doing everything myself. That's why my
Gotcha.
website says, "Are you tired of doing everything yourself?" I didn't make that up. I got it from my audience. So it also
Gotcha.
helps you with marketing.
Gotcha. Gotcha. That's cool. That's cool. And one of the other pieces, and we mentioned it before, um, one of the best engagement tools, challenges and workshops.
Mhm.
Um, so, what are your thoughts around, you know, I guess challenges and workshops and aggregating an audience? Are those sorts of things better for a cold audience or a warm audience? And if you do have a workshop and are trying to get people in, what do you think about? I know some people use paid advertising to promote their workshops or challenges.
Mhm.
What do you so those three things better for cold or warm audiences, and then what do you think about around paid advertising to support your workshop?
I think in my experience with what I see, challenges are amazing, right? Because if you think about it, the challenge should position the prospect to work with you, right? So I know that people need lead generation, but they may not have a way to manage their lead generation. So if I had a whole challenge on lead generation, and then at the end it's like, hey, I have this lead generation system that you could purchase. It's a no-brainer, right? The challenge just has to be structured to make sense. Because I've seen challenges not work because the offer didn't make sense or they were targeting the wrong people for the offer. So that's another thing. So that'll tie into paid advertising. Think about your offer. Make sure you're targeting people where the offer is going to make sense for them because the
So,
challenge should be the pain point, right?
what would you say would be a good format, like an ideal format? Let's say somebody starting from 101 doesn't know what would be a good format in terms of how to structure a challenge into an offer that makes sense. What's the
I would
ideal format?
I would tie in what you said to me be in the beginning, which would be the workshop, right? So the work so let's even go back since we're talking about cold audiences. So we think about the pain points. Let's do a checklist to get them to opt in or a short video about that's going to help them with that pain point. That video then leads to them registering for your workshop. Okay, your workshop leads them to register to the challenge and then into the offer,
Gotcha.
because each of this is establishing you as the expert, and it's giving them a little piece of who you are and how
Gotcha.
you are the solution. Because just get it, every business, you're the solution for your audience's problem, but they don't know that. So you have to tell them that. And I think those ways to consume content for from you will work. Now it depends on your audience too, right? But for the most part, I think people are over ebooks and their overall and stuff. So it's like I don't even, I mean, I have ebooks up, but I restructure everything to be okay. Here's a video. You want to know about high level? Here's a 5-minute video about high level. You want it,
Gotcha.
get it. You don't? All right, I got a presentation on how you should automate and market your business. After that presentation, now you can go into my demo that's talking about the system that the presentation set you up for.
Gotcha.
Right. So I think that process, and I'll let you know, we got to what, give our things at least a month, 3 months to work.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'll let you know. I just finished setting that up because you you can't keep, well, most people can't. I don't know how they had the energy, but to show up live, things happen in our lives and we can't continue to do that all the time. I know I can't speak for other people because I see them doing like, wow, hands shout out. I can't see how you do it. But sometimes we have to just do things to make sure we're protecting ourselves and our health.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to that point, um, one of the marketers that I work with, he talked about the shift from where you mentioned one-on-one or live to more whether it be virtual or broadcasting or community based approaches. And he was like, one is a dialogue and another is a broadcast. And at certain points, you have to broadcast and really have that one to many format, just to enable the sort of reach that your business needs to scale past a certain
Mhm,
point. So that's an important thing to keep in mind. So just to make sure I got it right. So you're saying it's almost like a lead gen tool.
mhm,
Ebooks are out.
mhm,
So some sort of like checklist to a
mhm,
video
mhm.
to establish that authority. Then going to a workshop. So I'm assuming a workshop is like a 90-minute
Yeah,
workshop
not for
or
me.
40,
For
40,
Jen.
30,
But
30.
if you can roll out 90 minutes, roll out 90 minutes.
So what do you usually do? You usually do 30 minutes,
Mine is 30, 45 out.
30,
I'm out.
got 30-minute workshop, and then a challenge, multi-day challenge, like 3-4 days.
Yeah. 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 Multi-day. It depends. And if you can do it in 3 days, do it in 3 days. If you need those whole 5 days, which most people do, then do it in 5 days. I've noticed though, like by the fifth day, people are like, ugh. So I think that's
They'll
why
drop off.
people,
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's why people just keep it to 3 days. And the new thing that they're doing now is 3 days for general public, 5 days for VIP. So that's the new
Mm,
structure for challenges. So
I like
gotta
that.
change.
I like that. That's pretty dope because you get those extra 2 days for those who really. I hate to use the word. I think it's overused, but those who really want value in terms of whether it is question and answer, specific feedback. Um, that's actually a pretty cool approach.
Yeah, because my here's my problem. We consume content different. And for me, it's not about my attention span. It's just I'm a straight to the point type person. And as I get older, it's worse. I just give me the information. I don't want it. Now, some people do need the motivation. They do need all of the fluff that sometimes people have, but I don't need that. I need the information. What is the information? Give it to me straight and let's go. I don't need you to greet me. Just go in. But I feel like so much of that is happening that people are just like, I'm tired of looking at this. So if you do it, be respectful. If the challenge is an hour, do an hour each day and be mindful. If you're doing 7 to 8, at 8 o'clock, we're out.
Got you.
And that will keep people like, okay, I know that I'm gonna be doing this from 7 to 8, and then okay, I got life stuff happening. All right, I'm gonna do this. People may have date night. I gotta do date night. But if they think that you're gonna be on here and you're gonna be talking forever and you're not gonna stay true to the timelines, then it's like, well, I'm not coming back tomorrow because I got stuff to do. And
Yeah.
we're fitting this stuff into our life. So we just have to be respectful that people are fitting your challenges and your workshops into their life. So however long you say it should be, that's how long it should be. Now, once they get there and they're like, no, no, more. If you could give more, give more. But
Got you.
you know,
That is a good point. And speaking of how long it should be, we're about the end of our time for today, but we will be back tomorrow talking about more digital marketing. So Jenifer J, is there anything you've got coming up, or anything you want to tell the people about before we drop off?
sure. If you are viewing me on YouTube, or just go find me, right? You can go to systemsactivate.com. I do have the demo coming up. I have a uh in-person clinic coming up June 13th here in
All right.
Atlanta.
All right,
So it's
cool.
it's getting your processes together. So just follow my content. I will post it all.
Dope, dope. We can't wait. Anyway, awesome. We will be back tomorrow. Cheers, everyone. Peace.